Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We are live again. This is your 10 District Library, your local library. Today, again, once more with our virtual Small Business Expo. We're honored. We're happy to start this journey again once more with you. Um, this is a space where we wish to have a dialogue with you, with our local agencies, with some resources, and our entrepreneurs to promote your work, to understand your challenges, to align with your needs, and understand what you really want us to offer. We also want to provide a space and a platform for our partners and agencies so that you know what's available for you so that you can succeed. We want to see you grow. We want to see our communities grow. During these next 2 weeks, sorry, not next 2 weeks, there's still 5 weeks to go. We will be hosting this event live every Thursday at 7 o'clock in an effort to connect directly with you. This is a live event, so we welcome your comments, your questions. If you want to speak directly to our presenters, this is the space. And these comments are going to be posted. The program is also being recorded so that you can see it later. Additionally, we would like to welcome our speaker today. Her name is Marta Johnson. She is the state coordinator for the American Sustainable Business Council. And I want to say hi to Marta. Are you there, Marta?
Hi, yes.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to share some of the work that I do and answer any questions as well. So should I dive right in?
Well,
Can you hear me okay?
We're excited to have. You're cutting off a little bit.
Okay.
I think that we're going to try to solve these technical difficulties. But I just want to remind the public, if you are joining in, just remember this is a space where we're going to be hosting this type of conversations. You can register online at www.kdl.org/events. You can see what we're going to be doing in the next months. But today, Marta, are you able to hear us? I think.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. There's a storm going on right now. So there's a lot of there's a lot of people without power. There's a lot of interesting things and challenges. But I think that's exactly, and it mirrors our conversation today. What a year, eh? What a year.
Yeah.
Especially for our businesses.
Yeah. It's been a real struggle on many levels. So, and it doesn't appear to be letting up too much.
No. And this is just a reflection, learning to use all these technology-based resources, learning how to connect with each other through the screen, that's part of the challenge. So, yeah. But we should be in this together. We should understand how we can connect and what's there to help us. So we are very excited to have you. I am excited because, I was reading in your resume, you are also, aside of being the state coordinator for the American Sustainable Business Council, you're also the co-founder or founder of the Tree Shrugger. What is that?
Yeah, that's a business that I started to help people build planet-friendly habits, especially those that are struggling with finding enough time or having enough knowledge of, what they can do realistically to make a big impact with climate change. So it's about helping make climate change accessible, or making a difference about climate change accessible to people. So yeah, it's an exciting project that I have in addition to my work with ASBC.
But that's amazing because as you work with them, with the American Sustainable Business Council, you're also an entrepreneur yourself. So you are also experiencing what it means, and all the dynamics that come with starting something yourself.
Exactly. I think it gives me another layer of both empathy, but then also being able to find ways that we can improve our own advocacy. I think we work with a lot of different businesses, from well-established, much larger businesses to mid-sized, but a lot of them are small businesses and entrepreneurial solopreneurs and startups. And so I think, having this experience, I've worked for some larger businesses as well as for some social enterprises, and with True Sugar, it's more of a startup social enterprise, but it just gives me a good, real life perspective on the challenges, and helps me do, I think, have a better perspective in the work that I do for ASBC.
If I can interpret this resume, you basically do you establish connections, you establish partnerships with organizations, small and big, and you center in equity and sustainability. So, is that correct?
Yeah, it is. I have it's a wonderful position to be able to grow connections between various business leaders, to connect not only with resources, but also with valuable information on how the policies might be shifting, and how they might even be able to speak into policy changes that they care about or are impacted by, and live in a community that is impacted by these policies. So it's a really special position.
Yeah, I find it interesting, very interesting, and also you as a person, a very with a broad, in more than 10 years of experience, and a broad way of looking at the reality. Now, let's start with the beginning.
Yeah.
What is the American Sustainable Business Council? Who are you, and what do you offer? What do you do?
So the American Sustainable Business Council is a national organization that works with a lot of different partners to build a high road economy, and to build an economy that's more broadly prosperous, that's sustainable, and that really reflects what some of us in the business community call the triple bottom line. So a balance of people, planet, and profit. And so a lot of what they do revolves around being able to help business leaders get involved in the policy world. So either as people that are advocating for policies, or just to be able to understand it, as well as share best practices. I think they do a lot in partnership with other organizations like B Corps and a lot of other training and education type organizations nationwide. So they're able to pull into partnership a balance between having an impact and policy, kind of external to individual business, but then also partnering effectively with other organizations that help businesses learn, absorb, improve their own processes to reflect the values and the impact, in addition to become more financially successful. So it's a really great organization to for business leaders, but then also I think for a lot of these issues that we all care about as well.
I find it super interesting that you mentioned those three words, and in that order. You said people, planet, and profit. A while ago, my husband and I went to an all-inclusive hotel in the Caribbean. I have never been in one of those, and I don't think I'm going to return. But we went, and we had the experience, and it was a good experience, But something happened. My husband got sick. So I end up roaming around the place by myself, and I end up meeting the people that were servicing the place. And it was in the Caribbean, so I am Spanish speaking, so we connected. And the interesting thing is that I see that a lot of corporations and businesses, they understand that there is a conversation around the impact in the planet. And there are some policies, and sustainability usually centers in that, in how do we use resources well and stuff like that. And of course, it's related with profit. But the people part, we haven't quite got yet. And now in this era, when we are talking about equity and how the communities of color, how represented they are, where is the wealth, and these kind of things, I feel that sometimes businesses start with profit, planet, and people, and you put it backwards. Can you elaborate with that? Is that intentional?
For me, it is intentional. I think it also has been popularized in certain circles to go in that order as well. I think that when, if you just think of it from the aspect of, how it is valued over time by the people that use this framework. When you start with people and a connection with people, I think there's just, it gets to something inherently valuable as well as inherently aligned with what people are really about, which when you think about sustainability and planet impact, I think there are definitely a certain segment of the population that comes in from wanting to care for, be a good steward for resources and that sort of thing. But I think, ultimately what ties us together on both like a daily basis, but then beyond, beyond how we're making money and how we relate to the land is really how we relate to each other. And that, I think, is the building block for any effort to make a positive impact in the world. If you're not treating people well, it is very difficult to really have positive environmental outcomes. And I think, as someone that's been really involved in environmental space for a while, there is a resurgence or surgence, depending on your perspective, of intersectional environmentalism, really centering people in the discussion of how we are doing the work. Not necessarily there, there's another angle to this where it's, are you valuing people over planet and in some sort of hierarchical thing, but more in the sense of how the work is being done. It really does matter how you do it, and not just what you're doing, because they've noticed that even the best sustainability plans, aren't effective if they aren't inclusive and equitably planned, because there just aren't things that people that don't live in communities and experience the problems that that they can't even have the opportunity to experience because they're in either a suburb or just don't have any frame of reference. They can't plan for those sorts of they can't plan for problems experienced outside of that direct experience. So I think that's just one example of why it's so ultimately important to have the people, planet, and then profit. And I think it usually is flipped in terms of how businesses traditionally have approached it. It's profits most important, and then maybe planet is a little important, and then people follows along. But I know in the work that we're doing at the American Sustainable Business Council in Michigan here, it's really people and equity focused, and sustainability is going to be included as we continue and grow our work in terms of environmental issues, because it is a shared value as well. But it's been really great and kind of a refreshing sign of the times that what really brought the ASBC into Michigan, as well as all of the partners that we work with closely, is really around people. So
yeah, well, I find it really, yeah, no, of course, for a business to be sustainable, we have to center in profit, because without profit, we're not sustainable, of course. But right. It is how what you said is not what you're doing to get the profit, but how you're doing it, and how you're doing it defines who you are. So it's about who's doing this work for the people.
Mm-hmm.
I find it really, really interesting. I see that you have many resources in your website. I was just navigating your website and I saw that there are so many resources to make a business case for sustainability practices. And I wanted to ask you about that. Can you give me a taste of what a member has access to and what you offer?
Sure. I think, some of the access people have relates to virtual connections, and when we're not during a pandemic, during our in-person sessions. So, for example, we had a conference called Making Capitalism Work for All, and it went through a lot of different issues, equity and people-related issues, some sustainability as well. But it was a crash course in what are the best emerging best practices, connecting with other business owners that have actually been through and implemented a lot of these changes, talking with and meeting with policymakers to learn about the latest developments and what can make it easier for businesses to have what we call high road practices, which is, you know, pro people, pro equity type practices. Because right now, in some ways, the not all of the way that we have our policies in place now necessarily align with being able to do the best that we can do to be, be supportive of our goals with how we treat people and how we work together with our workforces and our clients and customers and community and that sort of thing. So those are some of the things. I don't know, I'm on the website now. I don't know if it helps. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. We go through, so we teach people about, you know, what are the principles of high road employers, and give people an understanding of the best internal practices, but then how we can better reflect that with policies within all of the United States, or in some cases in state by state scenarios. Mm-hmm. And then we've done quite a bit of work around, and I think that is really important right now, which is around COVID and COVID, the business response and business resources. They've done a lot of work, especially around what does a safe, equitable, and sustainable reopening plan look like? Dealing with everything from environmental issues and energy and infrastructure to paid sick time and paid sick leave, and how we deal with illnesses from an employer's perspective, but then also from a state and national perspective as well. So there are quite a few COVID-19 resources, updates. They work regularly with different lawmakers on, for example, the various federal aid packages. They've also done a lot of advocacy on bringing to light the challenges that small businesses have had and advocating for process changes. So an administrative behind the scenes, not everything is just about passing a law. Sometimes it's about making sure that laws or policies that have been passed are really effectively and best implemented so that they're reaching the people they're intended to reach. So I think in especially the challenges that people had for applying for a lot of the federal relief for the payroll and protection loans and that sort of thing, ASBC was active with a lot of our partners to be able to help solve some of those problems. Obviously, there's a lot to go, but it helped realign equitably, because there are not only small businesses were kind of having difficulties, but especially minority-owned businesses were having specific difficulty because of how it was structured and just issues in communication and that sort of thing. So some of that advocacy was able to help.
In the past weeks, we have had two other small business expos, and the first one was with Wayne Titus, and he kind of walked us through the payment protection plan or program, and basically, some of the questions. There's specific questions, specifically for small businesses owned by people of color, that he addressed many of these things. But you sent some questions to me too. You had mentioned things that, and I saw in your website too, you have some reports and some additional resources that small businesses can access that will give further information about these policies that are in place or coming. You mentioned the additional $1 million from the small business potentially in the state budget.
Right.
Things like that. So you keep up to date what is still open, what is no longer available, and kind of things. As a member, you have to be a member to get this, or anybody, because it's public, right?
This information is public. I think the benefits you get as an ASBC member are being able to be a part of a effort and amplify the voices for advocating for a more broadly prosperous economy for people, planet, and financially sustainable companies as well. So I think it's really about being able to have a stronger presence in Washington, D.C. The work that I do here in Michigan, there are occasional times where I'll tap into, helping, especially we're really working closely with Congressman or Congresswoman Stevens and Flatkins on circular economy. So zero waste type initiatives, especially in DC, and are really close on some of those initiatives. But in Michigan, I'm really focused on what we can do within our state. And one of the things that we've been working on advocating around is being able to get more resources, not only for small businesses, but also directly for individuals and families. So just more financial resources to be able to stabilize business owners that especially are solopreneurs or entrepreneurs on a smaller scale, as well as individuals and families, so that your customers are also stabilized and able to continue to live in a way that they can buy things and pay bills and keep up instead of having shocks to our system. So those are some things that we've been working on. There is a deal that's pending between Governor Whitmer and the speakers of the House and Senate in Michigan around an extra $100 million for small businesses, which we continue to work on supporting. We think that's a positive step forward. There's also interest in expanding what's called the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is not something maybe that you regularly read up on every week, but is another tool that we have in Michigan where we could leverage more relief directly to especially middle and to lower to middle income families that would help provide greater stability during this economic time, because we're not only looking at helping businesses keep the doors open, but keeping these things stable and continuing to move forward without enormous disruptions. I think we've got a lot of unknowns, and the more stability that we can have, the better it is for our small businesses, our medium-sized businesses, as well as our communities.
Yeah. Well, and when you send your notes, you mentioned the health and safety policies from executive order, PPE businesses, and then the sick leave that. But before, I would like you to talk a little bit about that. But the way I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so you are a two-way street. Anybody can access your website and get these amazing reports where you have actually, and they are called these are the business case for sustainability. And it's very specific, business case for sustainability related to blank, and so everybody can access those. And
absolutely.
Resources, you're talking about circular economy, and but in the other hand, the other way street is the policies that you're affecting. So not only you're giving information to the business owners, but you're also amplifying their voice so that policymakers understand what they are doing and how they can better support the work in the ground. So I see becoming a member actually gives you that extra community where your voice can be amplified, or you can find maybe there's other voices. Is that correct? Is that a good assessment or no?
Yep, that's a very accurate assessment. It's something that you can absolutely participate in and get benefits from, even not being a dues-paying member. But when you do become a dues-paying member, there's a deeper sense of community and more resources. But then also you're able to influence things that will align with the kind of business that you want to grow and the kind of community you want to thrive in.
During this time in COVID-19 world, I am guessing that you have had many opportunities to amplify people's voices and kind of shape how those that support, that relief has come. How has been the involvement of your organization during these weird, strange times?
These were times. Yeah, I think I mean, some of the things that we've been able to do is one, be able for people that are in moments of frustration in not being able to access things, we've been able to quickly connect people to, find where some of the roadblocks are. And that's, just in, sometimes it's just one-on-one, starting through email threads, getting on the phone with people and helping people in that way. In other ways, it's being able to, we've done works where we've collected a whole host of experiences to be able to give a lot of depth and information for the changes that are needed on an implementation level, but then also in, additional policy amendments or changes that need to happen. This was especially important during for the second relief package and highlighting, the experiences that minority-owned businesses were facing and having challenges accessing it, where exactly the problems seem to be, and then giving some voice and specificity to what was happening. I think the other thing that is ongoing is really looking at the state and every resource that we can. We have a governor that is very supportive of small businesses, is extremely supportive of public health, and doing the best to align what the data is telling us from a public health perspective, along with being able to work in a way to keep businesses moving forward. I think one of the things that I have really appreciated is the expansion of the work share program, which is basically, especially right now, if you're a small business and you have employees that you want to be able to do the right thing and keep them because you really value their talent, but you're not able to necessarily have full-time work for them just yet because things need to even out. The work share program can basically help you be able to make them whole from a pay perspective, but then keep them and retain them at the levels that you really need them, which might not be full-time. Maybe it's part-time or part-time, but it's something that can help them. The work share program can also help adults that can't access childcare or other issues that aren't able to work, and it helps them be able to also access payments and unemployment through that program as well. So there are different ways that you can retain employees during this time. And some of the work that we do is, helping continue to connect with the governor on what issues people are facing, what are the tools that are going to be most effective. She's got a really amazing team, so it's been great to work with her, and a wonderful working relationship. So I think it's a lot of work ahead, but I remain optimistic in some of the issues that we're looking at right now, which is, one of them is paid sick time. I think Michigan, we don't have our earned sick time laws were as a ballot initiative approved by voters in 2018. Was it 18 or 16? 18, I think. Was altered by the legislature, and right now we're looking at how we can improve the ability for people to have paid sick time. We're doing the work right now to understand for some businesses that have already implemented this, either just on their own before some of those laws were changed in 2018, but then also that changed policies in 2018 to be able to really more deeply understand the business experience on that. Were there any challenges? What are the benefits? Because I think when we can better understand and communicate those, it's going to help make a stronger case for these important public health ideas and policies that could help us be more responsive or use more tools to be able to slow the spread of COVID and keep our hospitals not overwhelmed and keep our economy continuing to move forward. So that is a little bit of the work that we're addressing right now. I did want to say, and I don't know if this is the best time, but we have a working group in partnership with our organizations that we work closely with here, including People First Economy and Local First and West Michigan Sustainable Business Forum, the Minority Supplier Development Council, and the Southeast Michigan Sustainable Business Forum around how to build a more broadly prosperous working economy. And it's an opportunity and free for any business leader that wants to understand more some of these hot button issues, be able to dive into and learn about the different business implications and the business case for different policy issues, and be able to get in more engaged civically around some of those, in addition to be able to connect with more resources on like how are these implemented in our own businesses as well, which I think can help relieve some of the learning curve for businesses.
Yeah. So you said a lot there.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's precisely why we're here. A lot of the things that you're saying, and you mentioned these two, it really takes a one-to-one conversation to kind of figure out what's your need, where's your business, which of these options really will work for you in particular. And I know that that's part of what you do. And in this business expos, we want to provide a space where we can actually connect directly. That's the reason why we have invited our viewers to join us in a Zoom meeting right after, where they can connect directly with you, maybe find out particular things that are of their interest, and maybe connect with you directly so the organization can provide that support and initiate that conversation. So speaking about those resources and everything, we're hosting these through Kent District Library. And I know that do you use your library resources a lot, or not really?
I do. I mean, right now during COVID, we've renewed our stack of books. But yeah, we're for my family, we're huge library users. Oh. It's like a weekly trip.
We love that. We always love to hear that. But today I want to introduce Sarah Magnussen. She's our librarian. She does the adult education portion, and she is helping us today with some business resources. So let's go with her. And when we come back, we're going to invite our viewers to join us and get to know them personally.
It's Sarah, librarian and outreach specialist, here with your KDL Connection. Kent District Library has all the resources for your workforce development needs, from Career Online High School to prepare you for the career that you want, to our databases and collections that will help you grow your small business. Let's see how we can connect with today's topic. Let's begin on our website, kdl.org. And from there, we'll find that we have Learn and Research, our online and research databases. But let's check out just newspapers today. Under the newspaper heading, you'll see Grand Rapids Press. If we go to the Grand Rapids Press, we can search in the keyword bar by typing in any terms. Let's try small business relief. Searching that term will give us over 500 results that have been published in the Grand Rapids Press. If you don't feel like going through all of them, you can go up to the search field again, and under advanced search, you'll see that you can limit the text to show you things only in specific fields by headline, author, captions, and then you can also choose to limit by the dates that they were published. Heading back to the main newspaper column, you'll find that we also have New York Times, Newsbank, and Newspaper Source Plus, which is a full-text digital collection of the world's most major news content, and it'll have articles from all around the world. Each of those categories will allow you to search either basic or advanced. Thanks for being here with us today, and I hope that you'll join us next week for another Small Business Expo, where we'll share more KDL connections.
Thank you, Sarah Magnussen, for that awesome resource. During this time, we want to go to journals, and it takes some time to make it to an actual journal. You really have to keep up with the news, and this is an amazing way to search and just go by topic worldwide. So I don't know if did you know about this?
I didn't. I just learned something.
Oh, good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Sarah is going to be highlighting one resource every time that we have our small business expos. So, I invite you share these with our community. Just let them know that we are going to be, aside of our conversation, also learning some resources that you can use to grow your business. And those resources are yours because are paid with your tax dollars through your library system. At this time, I would like to give our viewers an opportunity to connect directly with you, Marta, and just learn their names, learn their businesses, what they're doing, and what their needs are. See if we can meet them. We have Joanne Huston Swanson here somewhere. I don't know if we can bring her in. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, I'm here. I had a dog trying to join me.
Joanne is going to help us. Yours is the floor.
Okay. I think we're ready to move to the Zoom platform. Kevin had put it in our chat, I think. Let's see. Where is it? See if I can. I don't know if I can put it in the chat, but let's see. I might be able to. Nope. Let's see. Anyway, so we can go to the Zoom and have a quick conversation with anybody who wants to follow along there with us. So if you're ready, I'll let you in.
All right. So if you are live and you would like to connect with Marta, we invite you to go to follow the link in our comments, and we will see you there. We want to meet you. We want to know your name. We want to know what type of business you are leading, and we will love to connect directly. I want to remind our viewers also that we will be doing all these Small Business Expos every Thursday at 7 o'clock. You can connect, you can sign in and let us know that you will be here attending by following our link, www.kdl.org/events. You can also connect just by searching Small Business Expo in our webpage. We are so glad you came. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for joining us. And we look forward to connect once more and meet you too. Thank you so much. Have a good night.